Hi everyone, so today I'd like to show you how to transition over from Windows 10 to Rocky Linux 9. And the main reason that would compel you to do this is if your system does not meet the requirements for Windows 11, but you still have great hardware on your computer otherwise. And if I just briefly look over the Windows 11 system requirements, you know, um, the processor, you need at least 1 gigahertz with 2 or more cores. You need at least 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage. You have to be able to use UEFI for the system firmware. And here is the problem child. You need to have something called a Trusted Platform Module version 2.0 chip. And this is used for basically signing your boot files, making sure that your files that are being loaded haven't been corrupted or changed. And this is what I'm missing. And probably if you cannot upgrade Windows 11, this is probably what you're missing. So if you got great components otherwise, but you don't have a TPM version 2.0 chip, then this is the video for you, because I'm going to show you how to use a different operating system, Rocky Linux, and you'll get all those security updates that you need, and it's gonna last you a lot longer. You can see here their planned end of life is 2032, where Windows 10, their end of support is October 14th, 2025. So coming up pretty soon, in about a year and a half, you're no longer going to receive security updates on Windows 10. So I will show you today how you can transition over to Linux. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your data is backed up. So let me plug in the drive that I'm using for my data backup. Go ahead and plug that in. And if it's a new drive, you would need to format it before using it. And the way you would do that is by right-clicking the Start menu and then going to Disk Management. And this is the drive right here that I just plugged in, this F drive. If it would come up as unallocated like this if it was a new drive. So you would right-click it and then create a new simple volume would be the option. I'm not going to format it because I do have data on this drive. I've already backed up the data I needed. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So let's say that you've created a new simple volume and you've been assigned a drive letter for your drive. So what you'll want to do now is right-click your File Explorer and open up File Explorer. Right-click it again, so you have two File Explorers open. That way you could just drag and drop. On one File Explorer, you're going to want to open up the volume that you want to make the backups to. And then on the other File Explorer, you'll go to your C drive. That'll be under this PC. Don't get confused and go under your OneDrive or your Quick Access. Make sure you go under this PC, local C drive, and then you'll open up the users folder, and you're going to want to back up your user data by simply drag and dropping the folder, just like this. At this point, you know how to back up data. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is to actually get Rocky Linux onto a bootable drive. So what I just did now was I unplugged my drive, and I have a different drive I'm going to plug in that has the bootable image on it. And I want to show you how you can use that to create a drive. All right. So you can see here that it already actually has the bootable drive in it, Rocky 9. So these are all the files needed that if I were to restart my computer and select it as the boot option, it would boot up Rocky Linux right away. Now, I'm going to show you how to get to this point. So the first thing you'll need to do is actually go to rockylinux.org/download and download the DVD for 8664 architecture. If you're using Windows 10, this is going to be the architecture you're on. If you're not using Windows 10 and you're using like a MacBook or some sort of architecture that's different, like ARM64, you'll want to download the DVD for your architecture essentially. But for anyone that's using Windows 10, 99% sure you're going to be on 8664 architecture, unless if you are kind of, the odd one out and you're running Windows on ARM or something. So you'll see that there's different ISOs. The minimal, this is going to come without a GUI, so I definitely recommend installing the DVD. So you'll double click this and then it'll start downloading right away. I'm not going to do that because I already have it downloaded. And that's just going to download the ISO, but you will also need a tool called Rufus. And this is what creates the bootable drive. So you'll go to rufus.ie/en for English. If you go to rufus.ie, you could select your language of choice if you don't speak English. And just a warning, if you're not running ad blocker, there's going to be a lot of ads on the website. Do not click any of these download buttons. That is not going to download Rufus. That is going to download whatever extension or file that the advertiser is paying to advertise. So what you will want to click on is Rufus, its latest version. So right now that's 4.4, and it'll be for Windows 64 architecture. So you'll double click that and that'll download Rufus. And I've already downloaded that. So if I go to my downloads, you'll double click Rufus, and it's going to ask you if you want to allow this app to make changes. You'll click yes. And then it's going to ask you to select your device. If you have your drive plugged in, but there's no device you could select, that means you need to format it. So the way you do that is you go to the drive and File Explorer, and you right click it, and then there's this format option. And I'm not going to do that because I've actually already have the bootable drive ready. But just know that if you go to create a bootable drive and the device isn't showing up, you probably just need to format the drive. So you would select the device, and then under the boot selection, you click select, and you select the bootable disk, the ISO. So with the device selected and the boot selection selected, you'll go ahead and click start. This is dithered out because I don't have a device, but in your case, if you have the device selected, the drive, you're going to create a bootable disk, you'll be able to click start. And it'll run the status. It'll take a little bit, but eventually it'll say finished. And when it does finish, you'll just want to close out of it. Some people get confused when it finishes and they click start again. Don't do that, because that's just going to basically do exactly what you just did. It'll just reformat the drive and do it again. So no need to do it more than once. After the first time, you'll be good. And once that bootable drive is finished, you'll be able to restart your computer and go ahead and install Linux. And I will show you how to do that now. I'll be recording this next part of the video from my phone. For this next part of the video, I'm going to show you how to actually install Linux now that you have the bootable drive. So what you're going to need to do is go ahead and, restart the computer. So let me go ahead and restart it. And then as the computer is restarting, you're going to want to click F9 if you're on an HP. And that's going to bring you into your boot options. Okay. And now you'll see that we're in the boot manager. So the very first option is going to be the Windows boot manager. The second option is going to be the USB hard drive. So I'm going to click enter on that. That's what has our Rocky Linux on it. And it's going to give you the option to install Rocky Linux 9.3 or test this media and install Rocky Linux 9.3. If you want to test and make sure that, you know, it's not corrupt, you can go ahead and select that option. So that's what I'm going to do here. So it's going to run through all of its checks. This will just take a moment. So it looks like the boot integrity was good. So that's a good sign. And it's going to pull up the actual installer now. So the first thing it's going to ask you is to select the language. For me, that's going to be English. So I'll click continue. Now it's going to ask you to, you know, select some settings. The first thing I'm going to talk about is under software and the software selection. You're going to want to select the environment that you want to use. So right now, server with a graphical user interface is selected. Now, I don't necessarily need a server. So what I want to install is the workstation. And then it's going to give you the option to install even more stuff if you want to. And, you know, with the server, with the GUI, they have a bunch more in there, a bunch of development tools, a bunch of server tools. But I'm just going to install the workstation. So I'm going to click done. And then it's going to ask for an installation destination. I'll click that. And I'm going to go ahead and select the internal drive, which is going to be this Samsung drive right here. That's 119 gigabytes. This drive is actually what I booted off of. I didn't have any USBs to use, so a little bit of an overkill here. I actually ended up using a 1 terabyte SSD for my bootable drive. But I'll go ahead and select the internal drive, and it's going to ask if you want to, you know, create your own custom partitions or if you'd like to do automatic configuration. I'm going to make automatic configuration, but I'm also going to select I would like to make additional space available, and then click done. And here, this is where you're going to, you know, want to make sure that you've backed up all your data, because you're going to want to select delete all and delete all the partitions off your computer, and then click reclaim space. Now, it won't actually delete everything until you start the install process. So if you haven't made your backup, you know, you'd want to abort, you'd want to quit, load back into Windows and make your backups. So now the next option is it's going to, you know, make you either create a root password or create a sudo user. And I definitely recommend creating a sudo user and leaving the root account disabled. So here, it's going to ask you to put your full name in, and I'm going to skip that. And then it's going to ask you to put your username, your password in, and confirm your password. Under the user creation as well, I forgot to mention that if you're not using a root account, you need to click make this user administrator. And then click done. And now it's going to allow you to click begin installation. So I'm going to click begin installation here. And then now it's installing Linux on my computer. Now Rocky Linux is finished installing. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the bootable media. And you'll go ahead and click the reboot system option. And now, if everything goes well, it should just boot right into Rocky Linux. All right, and there you have it. It went ahead and rebooted, and Rocky Linux loaded, so you could sign into the user account. I will probably make more videos covering, you know, steps to take after installing it, but that's going to end today's video. I hope you liked it. Thank you.